In this video, I'll show you how to work on a assignment using a typical Git workflow. Assume that you have cloned the assignment repository from your GitHub account. And as shown here, I have a repository folder, and I'll demonstrate how you can make changes and then push the change back to your GitHub repository. Here's a quick tip. Cloud9 will use your workspace name here for this folder name, and but in the command line it's always called workspace. So if you have named your workspace as web, and you're going to see web here, but on the command line it's always workspace. So they represent the same thing. This can be confusing initially, but just remember they are always the same, even though they are named differently. So now I have my assignment. I can cd into that assignment folder, the repository, do ls. I have some starter files, and if I run git status, nothing has changed. So what I'm going to do, I'll add a new file. Now I have a new file in my assignment repository. If I do git status, now I have a new file. So I can edit this file, and it's a simple HTML file, and it can be any source file that you have created. So of course you want to test it, and if it's Java, you have to compile it and run it against some test cases. For web pages, I'm going to run my project. So basically start a web server on my Cloud9 virtual machine, and then I can do a preview to preview this file, this page, HTML page. So now it seems to be working. Okay, I think I'm at a point that I can add those changes to my repository. So right now it's red, so it's not being tracked. It's something new, the Git, which Git doesn't know, and I can do okay. I can use a git add, and the simplest way to do it is to -a, which adds all the changes, all the new files. If I do git status, it shows that it's in the staging area, and so this is the buffer of all the things that all the changes that we're going to commit. In this case, just the new file. So I can do a git commit -m with a meaningful message. So I just added hello.html. Hit enter, and then git status. Now we can see it's committed, so there's no outstanding changes. Okay, I can do git log. It's going to show me that well, there are a lot of changes that the author of this repository has made, but this is a new change made by me, and here's the message. Okay, so everything looks good. So okay, normally you start with some new files, right? You create a file from scratch, and then inevitably you'll need to make changes. You don't usually get it done the first time you try it. So in my case, I'm gonna make some changes to demonstrate how we can how this workflow works. About me, I'm going to add in the body this heading that says hello world. Okay, so I made some changes to this file, and this change is done locally, so it's in the local file system. It's not in the repository yet, so I can see the status. It shows that hello has been modified. Okay, there's some outstanding changes that hasn't being committed to the repository. So what I can do is git diff. So git diff is a command that compares your local copy, the things that is locally in this directory, and the things that are in the repository. So now it shows that, oh, this file has been changed. Here are the lines that has changed. I have removed one line and added a new line. I have removed another line, added a new line. So I can use this to verify that these are indeed the changes I want to make. So assume you got to a point that you are ready to add the changes to the repository. You can do git add. Let's do status. And do git add -a. I'm simplifying this. You don't normally checking everything you have changed, but this is just to keep it simple, and in classes that you need to add things individually, then you know how to do that. Okay, so okay, and then status, we can see it's indeed staged, and git commit -m. So then I updated at hello. Oh, okay, let's make more specific. Added heading to hello.html. Now it's committed, git status. So local directory is clean, and git log, and indeed this change is recorded. Okay, now assume you are done with the project. You have tested your solution, and I can try it again. This is a web page, so I can preview it. Yes, the page looks exactly the way I expected. So now I'm ready to make my changes or my work visible to the instructor. So you do that by git push origin master. By running this command in your git your assignment repository. So it's always gonna look like this, because we're gonna git push some changes back to the origin, the repository where that we have used to create the clone that we have changed locally. So it's always pushed back to origin, and there's only one branch. In most of the classes, we're not dealing with branching, so it's always the master, the only branch we have. So just copy and paste this, and then hit enter. This should always work. So now let's verify that. So we have done some work locally on Cloud9, and with this command we should have pushed all the changes up to the GitHub repository. So go to your GitHub account, find the repository, and if you refresh, you'll see there are actually 7 commits, 5 done by the instructor and 2 done by you. And if you click on it, it will show you exactly what the changes you have made to this project. So the first change is adding new file, everything is brand new. And then the second change is change the heading to a something I want, and the title. So you can see this all the changes are tracked, and you know exactly what has happened to your project. And your instructor can see the same information, so they can grade your work.